who knows about Mr. Raisi's policies firsthand. She's a former political prisoner and the spokeswoman for the campaign to free political prisoners in Iran. Welcome to Newsday, Shiva John. First of all, how do you react to the death of President Ibrahim Raisi?
I think like millions of people in Iran, I am very happy. Of course, I wanted to see Raisi in a court of justice internationally to be trialed for the crime he committed for more than 4 decades. But obviously, as you see the reaction from Iran, I know there are scenes on the TV today that showing that some people are mourning. I must say that I disagree with your previous interviewees. I think people who are supporting the regime they are even less than 5%, and these are people who are on the payroll, basically, of the regime. So therefore, I think I must say that Raisi for us, people in Iran, associates with being a murderer because he started his basically first role in 1980. That means more than 40 years ago. And then continued having in judiciary, in prosecution. And what I want to emphasize for your listener, being in prosecution or being in judiciary doesn't mean what we have here. That means that he issued basically arrest warrant, kidnapping millions of people, including 13 years old, 12 years old, because I was myself in prison once when I was 12 and once I was 16 years old. Many of my prison mates were actually executed in the summer of 1988. 36 years ago, in the summer of 1988, he was the member of a death committee. He ordered the execution of more than 5,000 political prisoners only in 3 weeks. So he is called a butcher of Tehran for the right reason. And also in the women life movement, women life freedom movement and protest, he was in charge, and he was emphasizing in reinforcing the morality police to kill women, to basically suppress them. So as you can see, consistency, Raisi been suppressing, been impacted the life of people, millions of people, those families who lost their kids in the 1988 massacre. They are still, after 36 years, looking for the grave of their loved one, and they're still threatened up to this day. Mm-hmm. So I'm really sad that this is not shown on TV and on the news, that people were having fireworks, last night, because they were happy that this murderer has died.
You mentioned that you went to jail twice. Can you tell us why you were jailed?
Well, the first time when I was 12, we were demonstrating for reopening our school, and many of our
Shiva, can you hear me?
Something. Second time, again, I was in the...
we lost you there. So the first time round, you were demonstrating to reopen your schools because when the mullahs took over, they shut down schools for girls. Is that right? Absolutely. And the second time, I was in demonstration as basic as that when I was 16 years old. I think it's important to see when you hear the name of Raisi, that is like you hear the name of Hitler for us. And it's really interesting that when he was alive, he was welcomed in the UN by the international community, meaning the international organization and their government. I think yesterday we heard that International Criminal Court prosecutors is seeking arrest for Netanyahu and Hamas leader. Islamic regime, if someone like Raisi actually created Hezbollah, funding Hamas, and they haven't been touched. And you can see that for example, in Syria, many high-ranking Assad's people were on trial under the principle of universal jurisdiction. But unfortunately, Raisi, to the end of his life, he was invited, he was accepted. How can a murderer who committed crime against humanity for more than 40 years can be welcomed in the UN and other countries? And that's what people want. They want whoever replaces Raisi, it really doesn't matter. Regime in Iran is a system.
And they're all united in suppressing people, especially suppressing LGBTQ, women, and whoever are defying them, basically.
Shiva Mahbobi, thank you very much for joining us, a spokeswoman for the campaign to free political prisoners in Iran.
You're listening to